Yeah.
Terminator. Well, Terminator 2 actually.
Yeah.
Toy Story.
Mm.
Welcome to the real world.
Come on, it's the red and blue pill, Harry.
Yeah, come on, Harry.
Oh yeah, it is.
It
It's
gives
the
you like a
Matrix.
picture that gives.
I mean,
helps you.
I really don't care for the Matrix. Sorry. That's the Blues Brothers.
Yeah.
Get away from that's Aliens.
Oh, you're going from that side.
Oh yeah, Spider-Man. Stay calm, Mrs. Aurora. What is that?
It's this bad motherfucker.
Oh, so that's Pulp Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
Scarface, Godfather, Jaws, Trainspotting, Twilight, New Moon, whatever it's called. That's 2 Clint Eastwood films, right? No, that's Taxi Driver.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dirty Harry.
Mm-hmm.
That's Titanic.
Yeah.
That's Bond. Doctor No. Harry Potter. That one's not even a fucking quote.
Yeah, I know.
Carbon carrier one.
That's kind of a that's Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah. I think we'll be able to get all them all.
Fight Club. 60% of the time it works. Oh, I know that as well. What is that from?
Jonathan will probably get this
Is
one.
it, what's it called? Anchorman?
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
Anchorman.
Anchorman.
Yeah. It's about the panther, whatever the fragrance is.
Yes, the fragrance.
I've
Yeah,
seen
that's
that
right.
as well. Where the Wild Things Are. I wonder what that's from. Keep Calm and Go to the Movies. That's from Life. That's Apocalypse Now.
Mm-hmm.
One life ends another. What is that? I can't tell what that symbol is. Have I seen that?
It's an eye.
It's not Lord of the Rings.
You have seen it because Tony
That's Lord of the
thinks that
Rings.
it's better than a lot of really great films, like The Usual Suspects.
It's Avatar.
And yes, Avatar.
See, the one I couldn't get was fucking Avatar.
The most popular film.
Oh wait,
of all
have you seen
time.
that thing with Marianne Williamson where she did a tweet where she was like, "This is why Avatar's so important," and then she does another tweet which is, "What's an Infinity Gauntlet?" See, she knows which is the better film. I'm Kaiser Soze. Dean Keaton was an arsehole. That's the the one. That's Tony's favourite film. Lord of the Rings. You're one ugly mother. That's an Arnie quote, right? Is that Predator?
Yeah, the one where you find out that it's an alien right at the beginning of the film.
That's Seven. Raiders.
Oh, if you get the next one, I will just be insanely impressed.
We had a packed wolf pack, and I have no.
Oh, it's this really old film from the 80s, maybe called The Warriors.
No, I don't know about this.
Well, that's Harry's favourite film. The next one.
Forrest Gump. I like him more than Ethan does.
I like because of the image of a bench. I read
Get
that
busy living or
initially
get
as-
busy. That's really famous.
Get busy living or get busy dying. I had to do an impression of him in my Dark Knight trailer.
What is that from? Shawshank.
Yeah.
I watched the video in Shawshank. Did you see the
What dehumanises prisoners?
Yeah,
It's
that
a
was
good
a great
video.
video.
Yeah, it's a good video.
Wax on Michael the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Dead or Alive, You're Coming With Me. What's that? What's that line? Is that RoboCop?
Yeah.
Hey, my favourite film. I haven't seen yet. Life of Brian.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
Yeah.
Speed.
Yeah.
Better than Silence of the Lambs. That's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yes.
Jerry Maguire.
Yep.
Spinal Tap.
Yep.
Ghostbusters.
Mm-hmm.
Bring Me That Horizon. I don't think I know it. Whoa.
I'm Captain Jack Sparrow.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Ah, fuck. Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah.
No One Stays at the Top Forever with the dice. Is that the Colour of Money, The Hustler?
No, it's not a Paul Newman film. Robert De Niro's in it. Scorsese film.
King of Comedy?
Not King of Comedy. He owns
Oh,
a
Raging Bull?
casino.
Oh, is it Casino?
Yeah.
See? Wait, is there a Goodfellas one, but it's Casino?
Yeah.
That is Batman Begins. That's Star Wars. Is that Napoleon Dynamite?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you're missing the last one. It says, my mum gave a hand job to a mystic, and you know what that's from? Submarine. Hello,
I can't believe that's been recorded this whole time.
Hello and welcome to Jono's episode of LieMDB.
I'm going to edit that at the beginning out.
Yeah. I mean, I started it because it's the only way we'll actually start the podcast.
Is the
if we
SD
just
card in?
start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it a micro SD card?
You know
Yeah,
that
yeah.
thing
Okay.
that this is another tangent, but you know darts
After
players.
that expert
Yeah.
segue.
Okay. Darts players develop a thing sometimes where they have a fear of letting the dart go because it's never going to be perfect. So essentially, they have to retire because they just can't throw the dart anymore out there because of their anxiety. That's me with podcasts. I have a fear of beginning. I just don't want to start. I'm constantly throwing that dart, being like, it's never going to be as good as an immediate one. It's never going to be as good as an immediate one. All right. Alright.
I mean, we could make the visual aid relevant by putting up a
Yeah.
that'd be the thumbnail for
Okay.
no apparent reason.
I mean, they're better than some of the recent thumbnails. Okay. Submarine. Jonathan.
Yeah.
Well, this is LieMDB, by the way.
yeah, LieMDB. It's my pick. It's Submarine, directed by Richard Ayoade, with the music by Alex Turner, because Richard Ayoade and Alex Turner just seem to be friends, which is quite
We've both
cool.
seen that Crying Lightning behind the scenes video, haven't we?
Yeah. So Richard Ayoade has directed some music videos for the Arctic Monkeys, which I think is part of the reason why Alex Turner did quite a lot of the music for this, which I feel gives a good feeling for the film on whole. But as a rough overview, it's sort of a kind of coming of age type thing with your main character, and it's sort of about the shit.
Is it Bill Dunn's Ramon?
It's basically a rom-com. Just not shit.
It's very indie, very Wes Anderson.
Yeah, you can tell that Richard Ayoade is a fan of Wes Anderson, and but still a distinct different style, not just copying.
Yeah.
I've had to do this argument.
We've had this
before.
argument, yeah.
I don't think it's good. Do you think it's copying then?
Not at all. No, I think he's been inspired and influenced, but I don't think he's taken anything. There's
Should
something.
we invite the person who thinks that? Come on.
I feel like Wes Anderson has this sort of like ultra precise, meticulous nature to him, where everything has to be exact, and I feel like Richard Ayoade is a lot more kind of.
What? I mean, a lot of the set design seems to be quite messy. You know, it just seems like
Exactly. Yeah. There's this sort of
live in.
Yeah, there's this kind of chaotic sort of
it's
aesthetic
chaos
running
in a beautiful
throughout.
way.
Yeah.
And sort of I think the
Wes Anderson is just like paintings, basically.
Yeah. I think the best, or one of the standout cinematography moments in this film is when they're walking in the corridor, and then just
it's like a spliced editing kind of
a
thing.
splicing sort of spinning around effect that sort of it just works so well.
Is that to show, is that the one that shows the passage of time? Am I thinking of the same?
No,
it's both of the main characters walking down a corridor, and as they pass each other, the cuts between them increase really rapidly.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah, I know the one.
It's very close to the beginning of the film.
Yeah, beginning of the film, which is the best part.
Yeah, first 15 minutes. Yeah.
This roughly, it's sort of about this guy Oliver Tate, right? Who is your standard virgin / incel type character.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what they set out to make, but that's the labels I'm unkindly using for him.
Well, he was like 15.
Yeah.
The way
he should be a virgin.
Yeah, the main summaries I've sort of see, I say summaries, the like tagline in a sense of the sort of film is like Oliver Tate has two things that he wants to do before his 16th birthday, which is lose his virginity and keep his parents together.
That's basically what he's trying to do.
That's the film.
Those
two things.
He's trying to get the hobbits to destroy the ring in Mount Doom. That's his quest.
But yeah, so like the first sort of act is him trying to lose his virginity basically, and falling for Jordana, and the sort of weird relationship they end up sort of having. And then sort of it brings in more of the trying to keep his parents together sort of element, where an old sort of fling of the mum sort of moves in nearby.
They're these sort of weird ninja mystic types.
Yeah.
Which isn't a joke. That's what they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the sort of strange couple that come in and they're trying to steal the mum away, I suppose.
Yeah. So there's that, and then that sort of distracts him from the first part of the film, and then sort of moves him into this, and then the kind of third act of it is just him trying to deal with the aftermath of everything. But yeah, I
feel like the pace picks up though as it goes. Like I feel like him trying to be with Jordana is the biggest section. I don't know if that's literally true, but I feel like it sort of speeds up. You know, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So that feels about right.
Just to say that there's the common misconception that I say common, it's a 50-50 split between truth and not truth. If the first 20 minutes is the only good bit, I say only good bit, the best bit, and I think that's because that's just where it sort of sets out that like they're basically together by the end of the first 20 minutes, right? And then it just sort of goes from there.
Yeah, it's definitely. I mean, I personally like the first 20 minutes because I think it's a lot funnier than the rest of the film.
Yeah, it is.
It's kind of because I knew because of Richard Ayoade, who I like pretty much everything he's acted in Britain because he's a very good writer as well. I was expecting it to be funny, but like it was kind of that like gag a minute. I was laughing out loud, which with a lot of kind of comedies I will only do like 3 or 4 times in the whole film.
Those first 20 minutes are quite. They have like a witty sort of pace. To it.
It's almost like because he's not a nice human being. He's very honest and kind of a bit of a dick. And I kind of it's kind of he's just saying incredibly outrageous things, but not in a kind of provocative way. It's kind of
There's the whole sort of bit.
You understand the character quite well.
Yeah, he's just being brutally honest.
Yeah, the sort of bit where he's like
he's
normally
not PC gone mad kind of guy. But.
So it's like normally I disapprove of bullying, but
yeah,
it'll get me.
It'll
get me
he
there.
says
So
like
I'll
I
put up
can't
with
let my morals stand in the way of my goals or
Oh,
something.
I can't. Yeah, I can't let morals stand in the way of
achieving victory or something. He
I
says something.
don't think it's quite. It's.
He does say something quite lame, but it's very funny.
The narration is at its heaviest at the start as well.
Yeah,
that narration is so brilliantly delivered as well. The kid who I can't say the actor's name because I've never seen him in anything before, is really good.
Craig Roberts.
Are they child actors or just very young-looking people?
I think he's just
I've seen the actress who plays Jordana in other things as well since kind of like low-budget indie British dramas and stuff. So she has like been starting to make a bit of a name for herself. She's called Yasmin something. If I got that right, Jonathan? Yasmin Page, maybe? It'd be crazy if that's right.
It is Yasmin Page.
Fucking pat on the back.
Well done, well done.
I mean,
that was Ethan patting himself on the back just for our audio.
we would never get that close to Ethan.
The most famous people I'd say is Sally Hawkins. It plays the mum, and obviously she was Oscar nominated for The Shape of Water, and she's been in other things like Paddington 2. And Paddy Considine, who plays the Mystic, is one of my favourite people in terms of writer, director, actor. I think he can do absolutely everything. And this is perhaps the most like straight comedic performance I've seen of him. Like I really did kind of enjoy seeing him in this role where he's very much just chewing the scenery, and that's great. I thought that was great.
The actor who plays the boy's dad, I've seen a fair amount of things as well. He's really, really good. He's in Game of Thrones, right? I think because he's the guy. Actually, that's a spoiler. No, he's not Euron. Thankfully.
Yeah, he is.
But he has sort of minor roles in a lot of things from what I've seen. He's got that kind of recognisable face about him as well. Sticks out.
I would say I am quite glad that the casting is realistic and that it shows you know like 15-ish year olds, right? They're just being played by age appropriate actors rather than trying to convince you that like Zac Efron is just a reasonable human.
God. There's nothing more annoying than watching a film where you have
goblins,
like
the way they should do.
Tobey Maguire definitely goes to high school. He's totally not a 24-year-old man.
That's one of the most irritating things about 13 Reasons Why. They've brought in like actors in their mid-20s to 30s playing people that are like 16 or 17. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's not as bad as The Breakfast Club.
It's Breakfast Club really that bad?
Grown man. Right.
Oh man.
We sometimes we better do the right thing and stuff. We talked about not do the right thing. We haven't got there. Always no. We talked about tackling prejudice and like I don't know any myths or like things that we've changed our perspective. Like we might have seen things on ourselves, and I hope Tony that seeing this film has changed your opinion on the Welsh.
I retconned that in the first retcon. I'm not a Welsh phobe anymore.
Would you go far and say you like the Welsh?
Who's Welsh in this film?
Everyone.
Most characters, Tony.
I know some people, they don't see race. I just don't see Welsh. I like him. I think that's a strong word.
That's a strong word.
Okay, because
I get what you mean. Because no character in this film is like incredibly likable.
I watched the first 20 minutes with the preconception that you guys were saying it's the best 20 minutes, and it felt a bit like BoJack Horseman in a sense to me, where the guy was funny, right? But I didn't necessarily like him, that much. And so I think the fact that he became less sort of outright quippy, kind of jokes like that, and more invested you in his objectives of to basically just get Puss and make sure his dad also stays in a relationship So there's a similarity there. That it sort of was a bit like, I see what he's going for kind of thing. He didn't feel as aimless, as I might criticise Bojack to be. And so I do like him towards the end, but I do appreciate, and I don't normally do this. I know Harry has said before he doesn't like misanthrope style stories. I do like that towards this. I was like, yeah, this is a convincing argument for why everyone is a bad human being, and I'm like, I'm kind of for it in this sense. So that's why I say like is a strong word, because I don't like, they're not like my pals, they're not my chums, my buddies.
Mm.
I don't know,
you two were buddies, weren't you?
That's a quote from a show that Richard Ayoade wrote.
That you've not seen.
Yeah, loops
he's
around.
wrote part of it.
This.
You were buddies.
What was I going to say? Fuck, I've lost it. Some film.
I was going to say another reason why I like the opening 15-20 minutes so much is not just because of the pace, but also because he uses so many really interesting editing techniques, like the corridor. I also like the sequence where they're at the pond and there's like a complete freeze.
Freeze, but there's still like the wind.
Yeah. It's really, really,
That's
really
why
clever.
it's not a Wes Anderson thing. He's trying different things, I feel, and I love so many great visual you can only break the fourth wall so many times, and the ways that he does it through the narration of being like, a biopic about my life would have.
It's not even that's probably one of my favourite jokes. That is just in the beginning.
Yeah. But it's not just that. I mean, I feel like Ayoade's colour palette is just massively different to Wes Anderson. I mean, Anderson uses kind of bright colours.
It's like more film grain, isn't it? Kind of Super 8 quality.
Yeah.
There's literally a scene in the film where they watch Super 8 film that they've made together.
Yeah, on the beach, right?
I really like that.
Yeah,
I really like
that's
that.
good.
Interesting thing about colour is how the characters have a sort of colour that defines them. So
the kind of
yeah.
scheme.
Yeah, so Oscar Tate has got his sort of blues, Jordana's got her like very standout red, Chip's got his white, Oliver Tate's dad has got his beige.
And you notice
an interesting thing is
ochre.
The more that Oliver sort of gets with Jordana, the more that he starts wearing more red
That's
things.
what I was
in
about
his,
to say.
Yeah,
that's a classic
really
bit of colour
neat.
theory.
That's really neat.
Oh, I've remembered. Okay, so I think I don't want to just jump straight to the end, but like there is a moment in the film where it kind of, I mean, he's not like the nicest guy, but I was enjoying him as a character. I wouldn't say I particularly liked him, but then it comes to the point where when the jokes kind of become less and less, and it starts playing it more straight, when the film kind of expects you to kind of be on board with him, and at that point, I don't think I could make that leap to kind of suddenly like feel all this empathy towards this guy, and I'm like. The reason I've kind of been enjoying him is because he's made mistakes and he's been a bit mean and horrible, and the kind of I don't know. I mean, it's definitely personal to me, but there is a point in the film where he does something that I kind of, as a viewer, this is totally my fault, don't really forgive him for. So then I kind of don't want to see him get a happy ending. I don't really want to see it.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that in the sense where this is one of the few films where if it had a really like unhappy ending, like a style of like Oldboy where he doesn't eat the guy, he regrows his virginity kind of ending, I would have actually been fine with it. I felt like that would have been a good statement. That would have been a good statement to make, to be like, hey, this guy's shit and shit things happen to him. That's the film.
It does work.
But I do like that it's sort of a bit more optimistic, which I normally is what I want, but in this one I was like, it's normally what I expect, but in this one I was just happy to get it anyway. Yeah.
Well, what is the unforgivable moment for you?
Because he doesn't go to the hospital.
Yeah, that's the kind of thing where I can. They weren't together for that long, in my understanding. Right? What, like 2 months ish, 2 weeks even. It's called 2 Weeks of Lovemaking. The film they made together. Remember? That should have been the title of the
Oh my
Submarine.
god, that's got one of the best jokes as well, where it's like, it's got the credits and introducing, which is already one of my favourite credits, when a film has and introducing, which is making a film and then and introducing my girlfriend. Just little moments like that make it really funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it does a reasonable job of building up to why he makes the decisions he does. You can see how he is. He's terrified by the whole.
I mean, at that point, he kind of
thing.
makes the decision to choose kind of his parents over Jordana, right? Because then whatever happens at the end, but the parents, because the film chose to go that way, I feel satisfied in that sense. But then I don't think after that point I'll ever be happy. How I mean, I liked that they kind of broke up. I kind of
Yeah, I
So
don't
I don't know
think it's so. What's it fucking called? The passenger's sense, and where he he just gets away with being a fucking horrible person. It's like, actually, I do love you the whole time. It is a bit more ambiguous in a sense. They're willing to literally just move forward in a sense, just together. I don't think it's outright like saying like she forgives him kind of thing.
No,
there's no I forgive you and we'll get back with you. It's just like, oh, you're still a human that's around the same area as me.
Look to the left and they'll look to the right and they move towards the ocean, which I quite like that.
Yeah.
I quite like that.
I really like the. I mean, it's kind of. It's not the subtlest joke, but the setting up of the how his film's going to end, and then the film ending, kind of subverting that.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's another kind of good.
Just
joke.
I thought it would be the thing where it was, where it looked like it was you, but it wasn't you. That just has no idea what to do from that point. Yeah, a lot of good moments like that.
His repetition of jokes is really good as well, and how he tells them visually, like the dimmer switch.
I was going to mention the dimmer.
Yeah, that being the kind of mentioned in the opening narration, and then having that telling the audience straight out at the start, like this visual thing. So then being able to use that multiple times throughout the films in different ways.
That is one of the what do they call it? In the mood for love style things, where it's about picking up like subtle cues, like the dad having lemon in his glass of water that is brought up earlier and then sort of paid off, where you notice that he drinks some lemon water to show that he's sad, and it cuts away quite quickly. It's one of those things that rewards you for paying attention, rewards you for being like, ooh, subtext.
It definitely was
it's not just for 8th grade book reports.
Is that something DB Vice said, or is it
one of them? Yeah.
He said themes.
It's got that in my head now. I like saying I said that with no context as well. Alright, carry on.
So let's go with the dimmer, the sort of story it tells of it. Like, first it's him noticing it, and it's like it's a bad thing. His parents aren't really still sort of there.
He's a real weirdo.
Yeah.
When he writes that letter. That's the thing, when he's doing these ridiculous, outrageous things, then that's when I enjoy the character the most.
Yeah. I think there's a bit afterwards where you also see him check it later, and it still is at full brightness. And there's later when the parents are in a better place and he's in a much worse place, where he turns on the light. It is dim, and he violently, and you're like, here you have told me things about all these characters from a light switch and his reaction to it.
I know, it's
brilliant.
such a higher level than what we did in layman's terms, where we had someone flicking a light switch and couldn't be bothered to film them unflicking it, so we reversed the shot, which is a cost-saving measure of no money.
And also it did really save time, because we spent so long arguing about whether that would work or not. Wasn't even used in the final shot.
I think it's quite interesting how Harry says that there's this sort of I wouldn't call it a disconnect, but like the fact that he's funny at some points and more serious at other points. I think I was more in the other way, where I was more into like following his emotional stories. So I felt, I don't know, at some point some of the jokes might have been a bit too out there. Like, either this is a joke and it's hilarious, him sending the letter "we should shag" pretending to be his dad to his mum, either that's hilarious, in which case it kind of is, or it's like, this guy is really has problems.
Yeah, but you kind of know that he does from the start.
I know, but that's kind of the thing, this is actually quite unsettling. He needs to see a therapist.
He's very aware of his own problem. I do really like this film.
He is self-reflective, which does make him more likable.
Ethan, what do you think?
Johnny,
can I just break talking of the emotional stuff?
Yeah, but do you have anything else to say?
I've not seen it in a very long time, in all fairness. So I don't remember as much of the key details. I remember
I saw it, and that was your first time. It was my
and the difference between you and me is that you'd seen it many times before that, I imagine, and you like the film more than I do. I'm sorry, I should have rewatched it.
Yeah, I Rogue One again.
I mean, the funny thing is that I like is that when one of you originally brought up the dim light, I was like, what are they talking about? And then when you started talking about regulating it, then the joke came back to me, and I was like, oh yeah, of course that is. But I don't remember a lot of the moments like that, which is my fault.
I think this is a film of like lots of small details like that, though.
Because it's so small scale and it's kind of storytelling. It's very.
And it presumably hasn't got much of a budget at all.
I don't know. It's probably not a big budget, but
not compared to...
he has a lot of favours to call in with a lot of people. So it's
I guess there is the...
I mean, the cast, I can't imagine, asked for a big fee, there's a lot of people just helping him out, And it's a really good debut feature. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's not Get Out, but it is pretty damn good.
There's a really funny, I think, highlight on YouTube of like 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, I think, and it has John Richardson and Richard Ayoade in the same episode, and the final conundrum is Submarine, and obviously it's like an anagram, and then John Richardson unscrambles it, and then picks up on it and says, "Hey Richard, didn't you direct a film called Submarine?" And then, I can't remember what Ayoade's response is, but it is really, really quite funny from what I remember as well. Yeah, that has like nothing to do with the film really, but I just thought I'd bring that up.
I am kind of glad that I didn't know Richard Ayoade directed it until he popped up at the credits, because I feel like I would have expected it to be more funny and stupid, and this one, but because I didn't have that expectation, I was like willing to go along with the more drama elements.
That's probably why, because I watched it with the context knowing it's a Richard Ayoade film.
I suppose that's it's hard to break the mold.
Yeah.
It's hard to jump genres or whatever. But I'm glad he has range. I'm excited to see what else he's.
You should see some of the music videos
He's
that
done
he
He did
directs.
one more film with Jesse Eisenberg
called The Double, which doesn't
it's an
seem as
adaptation
good,
of
but
a
I
book.
haven't yet watched it.
But I think that's more serious. And I think he's got another one what he's working on as well. He just appears in a lot of things. He's also in Paddington 2 for one scene.
It's also in Neo Yokio.
Oh god.
Which is...
We'll get to that.
Watch that today. Letting you peek behind the microphone down.
What were you doing to... Oh, no, never mind, don't worry.
Yeah, so one of my favourite scenes, which, is most of them, one of the more sort of emotional moments is when it's him and his dad, and it's when he's supposed to go out to the hospital, and his dad is also supposed to go and do something with the mum, and they both do nothing and just sort of sit there and talk for a bit. That is a really strong scene for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that around that time it has one of my favourite I'll call it shots. I think it's just this sort of bit where he's walking in the hallway, and he's like walking forward, and it's like the bright white medical clinical sort of setting of the hallway, and he's just like walking forward, and it's cutting as he gets closer, and he's on the bridge, and there's a whirlpool. It's really cool. That's fine.
I remember really liking the I remember really liking the scene where they do plan to have sex, and before she comes round, he like prepares all the stuff. And that gave me a good chuckle.
Oh man. The weirdest part about that though is his parents' bed.
A second. Oh, the Who Would You Save in a House Fire? Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That's quite funny.
Ask me how deep the ocean is.
Not going to tell you.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just scrolling through the quotes, and they're all just brilliant. To us, and a wonderful evening of lovemaking.
There's him and that box wine. Oh man.
Box wine.
Yeah. He is quite an interesting character. He feels so like aware in he knows obviously things about, like, he reads a lot, right? He says, oh, this is Nietzsche. Don't agree with everything he says. Shut up. But at the same time, like, he doesn't really understand human emotions that well. I feel he's a bit of a psychopath, like a tiny bit.
I like his friends.
His friends are such dickheads. I
Yeah,
kind of
one of
appreciate
them-
that.
That's why I enjoyed all the school stuff, because it's such a subversion of all those kind of cliches of, like, school. I did enjoy that early on, because when you have more of them, I kind of like. He's not really. None of them are really friends with each other. They just all
Yeah,
just
yeah,
kinda
it's-
hang out
It's an
together.
argument that everyone is a bad person.
I like
We're
the
not children.
exploration of
Yeah,
like
fair enough. I mean, the adults
reputation.
aren't great in this either, though, are they?
Well, yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I feel like
I mean, the dad's the only one.
what's
I
Paddy
Exactly.
Considine done wrong? He's helping people.
I mean, I feel like his dad is quite kind of closed off or doesn't speak much. But I don't think he ever does anything in the film, if I remember correctly. You'll have to correct me. Anything like unethical
Doesn't
or
wanna go
that
see
makes you
that
dislike
film.
him. Yeah, I think he gets a bit. Does he get a bit?
He doesn't get a bit of anything. I think he's perfectly reasonable throughout it all.
No,
I
but
mean, he's just a bit bland, though. Like, fair enough. If you want to call that a sin.
no, but I wouldn't call it bland. I mean, just because he doesn't say much, I don't think makes him bland. He still has a character.
Yeah,
He still admits traits.
Beige is a colour. It's just not a very
So-
interesting one.
So, doesn't he at some point start like resenting his wife a little bit because she starts spending more time with the magician? Do I have that right, or have I just made
I
that
think
up?
he's a lot nicer than most people would be in that scenario, though, is what I got the impression of. He was a lot more understanding, a lot more like...
And that's what I think was kind of annoying both the wife and Oliver, was just that he was being so nothing about it, really. I was like, you should be getting angry about this. You should be trying to do something against this instead of just
should
like, oh,
rip
yeah,
your
that's
shirts
fine.
off.
Yeah, the ripping his
Yeah.
shirt.
I do really like the sorry, Ethan,
No, you
the-
go on.
The scene where it's
Oh,
him lecturing, and it shows like, he used to be really passionate about his job or whatever, and like he's like the last time he really captivated an audience. It's like, damn, this guy's pretty cool, when,
Yeah.
when he wants to be, when he's not calling the pothole hotline. Yeah, Ethan.
No, it's fine. Don't worry.
Okay. So Johnny, what do you think?
Well, it's one of my favourite films. I'm gonna say I watched it. Can't remember exactly when, but when I was at an age close to Oliver Tate, so I saw some of myself in him back then.
That's what made me dislike him in the beginning. I was like, this fucking dickhead. He reminds me of me. That's bad.
Yeah, I do like that. Like, there are elements, like even the dad just being like kind of very lazy. It's just like, that's just me.
Yeah.
Just kind of like having the anxiety of just like not wanting to do things as well. I feel like there's a lot of kind of characters that exaggerated elements of kind of real people. framed through comedy.
There's a lot to it there that spoke to me. Well, all the times I've watched it, there's different elements that have spoke to me more, but there's always been something that's been like, that really gets to me, that feels a lot like something I've been through without being something I've been through.
That scene where he does just sit there is kind of quite powerful, even though it's so small. And that's where the film's kind of best, when it's smaller moments.
I think this film, like, is, that people say, art is a way that people can understand, themselves and each other better. I think this is, like, genuinely, like, educational in, like, relationships. Like, don't be a dickhead like this, kind of story to tell. So, you should bang it on in a PSHE lesson, What's the rating of this film?
15.
Ooh, yeah, 15. I mean, the character's 15, so
Yeah.
it would make
I
sense.
Is
swear.
that how it works?
It took me a moment for that to register what you just
I mean,
said.
what I meant is that, like, in terms of you talking, can you show it at schools? I'm guessing the question you're asking is it a 12?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And I was like, no, it's a 15.
Oh,
but then
okay.
I then also jumped to my mind the fact that 8th grade, which its protagonist is 12 or 11.
She's in year 8.
Yeah, she that film is a 15 or an R in America, which means the actual age range of the film I can't see it. So I made the leap and went, 15-year-olds can actually watch this film about a 15-year-old. Because 8th grade, you can't see in America when you're that
I mean,
age.
you can make
And
a
it's
film
literally
about you can make a film about children and have it not be for children, though, right?
Yeah, I know,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
but 8th grade is so much a film for children. I feel
Okay.
like this is so much a film for, I don't know, 13 to
Yeah.
I don't want to say like only 17-year-olds who listen to kind of the emo music and think they're different, you know. And they want to jump in the swimming pool in their
I'm
full
going to challenge
clothes.
him on
This should come
Emo
packaged
music.
with a neat
Not
Alex
Alex
Turner.
Turner.
Emo.
Indie.
I don't remember
That's
seeing
the
my
word I
Oliver
meant.
Tate is listening to My
Alright.
Chemical Romance, do I?
Emo / indie / alternative, being like, oh, I don't like the mainstream.
Indie and
I don't like the
alternative, I let you
mainstream stuff. I don't, you know what I'm trying to
Yeah,
get at.
yeah.
What's the film they go and see in the middle of it? What's the film they go to?
It's like bucking bronco or something.
No, it's
Something
Passion.
like that.
It's the Passion of Joan of Arc, isn't it?
What, the one that has the famous close-up of her when she's crying?
Yeah, I think that's the film they go and see.
Passion of Joan of Arc.
Yeah.
Can't
Yeah.
remember.
But
That's strange.
It's for people who would go and see that film instead of the blockbuster at the Odeon that
Oh,
Dad
God.
doesn't want to see.
It reminds me when I saw that Bergman documentary at Showroom, and everyone in the theatre, apart from me, was like over 50, male and bald.
I understand the sentiment that it's for, like, you know, as we said, the incel types, you know,
not
the
incel.
offbeat, you know. But I think this also does have like a criticism of, you know, what being popular is, what that perception of trying to just fit in with a crowd will make you do. Namely, push a girl into a pond so hard she is deleted from the film. She fucking died. It's not brought up, and that's a more powerful statement than anything else.
It's definitely a good film for like to watch when you're that age, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I think I haven't learned all the lessons that this film is trying to teach.
This isn't
I mean,
like...
I'm not saying it is for children. I mean, it's anyone can enjoy it.
Yeah, but what do you mean by children?
I don't mean
like
the second you turn 18, like, oh, you cannot watch this film anymore. It's only for people aged this. Like, you can watch this film as like a 50-year-old man and learn things.
Yeah, I think it is for, like, if you're thinking about cheating on your husband, you might learn some things.
I mean,
If you're thinking of becoming a magician,
you could also say that with anything. I feel like you could learn things from fucking Coco, which is like anyone, which is a you. So yeah,
I think it's more like, I don't know, I feel like it would be especially good for like young adult, like developing late teen, early teen,
Are you saying-
mid-teen adolescent types, you know,
Yeah.
like 40.
is it the film equivalent of the ContraPoints incel video? Then it's gonna unred pill.
Yeah,
The
but Ethan
extremely
would watch
aligned
this and think
generation.
like, oh, the idea of being popular was made up by this film to be there's a bad thing. I don't know. It's
Having said that, I do kind of wish... I mean, this isn't
I
like...
think it is like that. Yeah.
I do wish I'd seen it a couple of years before I had the first time. I feel like Jonathan saw it at like prime time,
Is
like
this,
when you were meant
is
to
this his
experience
guide,
that film.
like being a good person, like his religion?
Richard Iowadi is my god.
Yeah.
Make a whole new religion. Fuck, I forgot the next
Whole
line.
new- that's garbage, isn't it? Yeah. It took me a minute.
I can see the fact that you'd connect with it more though, and it would be one of your favourite films if you were going through the same things as the character. I mean, that's part of the reason I think Lady Bird's as good as it is.
Yeah.
But I also the fact like being kind of beyond school now, looking back, I can kind of it feels less real, but I think I perhaps enjoyed it more. Because of that.
I think it might be a bit too real if I was like, oh fuck, this guy's me. No.
Give it a 1.
this is a
This
black
film made me
mirror into
feel
my
things.
own reality.
Tony, you are exaggerating a little bit. You're nothing like the guy in the film.
Yeah, but I'm not narrating my entire life to you though. It's
Guys,
like Ethan was a dickhead at this moment. A turn to the camera.
all I'll say is I did have a brief hat phase.
The beginning is so funny.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long are we going to go for? I mean, it's your pick, Johnny, so you can go for as long as you want to. You can talk for hours. You can analyse the...
I've contributed so little to this podcast. I should have just been playing Braid while you guys were all talking.
Listen, you've got like 5 minutes of Braid left.
Yeah, I want to get those 5 minutes done.
Right.
I want to say I've completed Braid. You know what this is completely off tangent, right? But do you know what I plan to do with Dark Souls? I plan to watch that speedrun video so many times that it gets to the point where I can take the theory of that video and just complete the game in
It'll
30
be
minutes.
like Assassin's Creed. It will, whatever the word is, just bleach in. You'll
bleach into your DNA.
I like that Ethan has been able to basically just your main contribution has just been.
This is a massive tangent, right?
Yeah.
Remember when this podcast started with like 5 minutes of me naming films? Alright, that's not the biggest tangent we've been on.
That was the original line.
This is my
talking about Submarine is the tangent.
My New York Times article in defense of Ethan. You know,
it's called Submarine because people are submarines and they can't see each other. Unless they use ultrasound, which people can't see.
Huh.
That's the film.
Is that actually the reason a character gives?
That's
in the
literally
film?
what they say in the film.
Yeah.
It's not that hard to see.
and he lives right on the coast. There's the constant kind of metaphor of
Sort of
being
half the year
underwater,
ago.
Fair enough.
yeah, being unable
Yeah.
to be seen and be heard. You know, and like there is that scene where I was like, this is peak
Mm.
indie. The most indie moment is when he just jumps into the water. And I'm like, okay, this is very. I do like this film.
I was gonna say I was watching the film and I saw the name for the film they make in the film. 2 weeks of love making. I was like, I would have sold more tickets if they had called it that. Actually, probably would have been good to have an under 18 cast and then market it that way.
This isn't Trainspotting.
Might have crossed into some dodgy waters.
Just don't even give it a score.
Yeah, Tony's review of Submarine is they should have broadcast it as child porn.
I said it would have sold more tickets. I don't know if you would want to do it.
Would you give this a 10?
It's up there.
So there are 3 films you give a 10 which have underage sex in them.
Yes! Take away the spotlight of me sympathising with rapists and put it on
One Flew Over, Trainspotting, right?
Yeah. But I mean, with this
To be fair,
one,
you don't see it.
Yeah.
It's not.
and with this one, it's
Trainspotting's
like
way worse.
yeah. With this one, they're both
Yeah.
they're both underage, and
Fair
I think
enough.
I watched it when I was 15, so
That
like around
basically makes
there.
it
So, like,
okay.
Alright, should we move on from this now?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've exposed you. The FBI are gonna bust
Oh.
it any minute.
We always thought Johnny was so innocent and good.
He's supposed to be the best of us.
It would be.
Is that Interstellar?
I don't even know what that is.
Say the line again.
You were supposed to be the best of us.
That's probably a Star Wars thing.
No.
Obi-Wan says to Anakin, "You were meant to be the best of us. You were meant
I
to,
think
to
You're
beat
meant
the
to
Sith,
save
not
us,
join
man.
them."
No, it's not.
The underage.
I'm gonna search what it is.
I mean,
While-
technically, right? Phantom Menace. Padme meets the boy. As a boy, she meets Anakin when he's like a kid.
Yeah, that's way worse than this, though. Don't put Phantom Menace on Submarine's
Yeah,
level.
no. We all know who the worst sinner is. It's Leonardo DiCaprio, right? With his girlfriends that are half his age.
That's 23.
I think it's from The Dark
That's
Knight.
fine.
I mean, it is fine, but I still don't
That's
like it.
allowed.
Alright, can we end
Maybe
this now?
maybe I'm just jealous that I'm not a Hollywood movie star who can just do that.
Let's
kind of thing and
end
get
the
away with it.
podcast before we incriminate ourselves.
We should have fucking stopped Mediate a long time ago if that's what
Yeah.
we wanted.
Yeah, so North
If you're
Korea,
listening
right?
now, go back and
Scores.
listen to the start of In
Scores.
Bruges and get Johnny's bank account details.
Harry is a fan of I. Daniel Blake. Don't listen to this Harry's boss.
Right.
What else have we got?
It's a good film.
Come on, let's scores.
Yeah, we normally do closing thoughts and scores, right? So
Okay, who wants to set the bar?
Jonathan
I don't know,
knows.
it usually is the person who picks it first.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
the big debate for me, like 9 or 10.
Mm.
But
But because
if
you're
you
taking
give it a
so
10, you're a nonce. No, Garrett, no, sorry. I'll stop.
yeah, I'm gonna say, yeah, you've ruined the
As long
10
as
for
you
me
were
now,
once
but-
that age, it's fine.
Is that the thing where if you give Birth of a Nation anything above a 1, that makes you a racist? So if you give it a 2,
It's like people who get Mein Kampf at a library, right? You're on a watch list.
7. that
Yeah,
is-
it
I
is.
thought so. Yeah.
Because I work at a library and that's not true. So, all right.
Maybe it's in
but
America.
have you got Mein Kampf?
Probably not. I don't know. I've put it on reservation. They're not bringing it in. So, all right. 9 out of 10, Johnny.
I mean, he's got to
This has
remember
gone off the
that.
rails so hard.
Jonathan's got to remember that he's doing a competition in which he wants to win.
Oh yeah.
which is why.
So you're not allowed to give it a
The
10.
rules for this contest aren't ideal.
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't
I-
really matter as well. Like, it's not like,
I want to win. Don't give it a 2.
like I think at this point, Tony, we'll just retcon all our things down to 1, so you can win if it really means that
Yes.
much to you.
A hollow victory. It's all I've ever asked for.
I think this is gonna be a 10, just because I can't
Yeah.
immediately.
Mediate 10.
There probably is a fault, but
Mediate 10.
Is it going to get a mediate 40 though, Tony? Oh,
yeah, no,
you've
just-
ruined.
Mediate.
It's 'cause,
It's
yeah,
your fault.
yeah, maybe it's because I've not seen
You
it.
next.
8. No.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, you keep carrying. Sorry.
Yeah. Maybe it's just I can't immediately find a fault,
Yep.
and so that's a 10 for me. And it does everything really well and speaks to me emotionally. It's very funny. It has some of the best cinematography. Just it is a 10.
Nice.
Bonnie, you want to go next?
Should I go next? I can.
Yeah.
I'll be real quick. Yeah, I often think that the difference between 8, 9, and 10 is so minuscule it doesn't matter because it's just like at that point you like it almost unconditionally. There's just like it's just is it your favorite? Is it that you personally mean a lot to you, which on a first viewing is very rare, and then like. Is because I think the technical merits of this would warrant a score above an 8, but I don't feel I was emotionally connected enough to give it above an 8. But on a rewatch, this could go up to a 9. But at the moment, and bearing in mind the fact that I gave In Bruges the benefit of the doubt and gave it a 9, I am going to give this an 8.
Okay.
It's a 4
So
star.
I think it's with your like. It reminds me a bit of my feeling with the Grand Budapest Hotel.
Oh, yeah, it would definitely
But
go up
like,
in my
yeah, the more you like watch it, the better.
because I'm sure next when I watch it. In subsequent viewings, I won't be seeing it as a pure comedy, and I think emotionally, maybe it will kind of connect with me more in the way Budapest did, where I didn't really care too much for it the first time, and then by the 3rd or 4th time I was seeing it, I was like, God, it's like am I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll go next. I think I'm going to do a controversial thing and agree with Harry. Say that I think 8 is a very, very good score for this to give. I know. My thing has been give out a load of 7s, and so. But this felt above the standard sort of LieMDB fare. I felt it was quite interesting. I did watch it in like chunks, because I can't manage my time at all. But so it sort of, as I was watching it, I came to it, in different moods. I'm glad I did watch it all in one setting because I was kind of like fucking pissed off with the first section because it reminded me of BoJack Horseman. I'm like, this shit. And it did go over the place. Is that the orb? Is that Marion?
No, just
orb. We're going to beat
Ethan, is this
Trump
how you learned the? This is the source of your power. If I broke this, you'd forget. Alright, carry on.
Yeah, I think the tone of this is quite interesting. I would like to watch it in one setting though, just to see how it all flows together. Because there are parts where I was like, the guy just has a full-on mental breakdown towards the end, and I was like, that's rage, and it's my actual reaction.
Yeah, I feel like if you do watch things over intervals, like you did with Hugo, it will the pacing issues will become a lot less apparent, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it probably is best to watch the whole film in one
Just
go.
saying, guys,
Yeah.
when you watch Godfather Part 2, feel free to watch it in 7 days, across 7 days with me. How much? Half an hour a
into
day?
your own TV show. Yeah.
Yeah. No. You could get through Godfather Part 2 in 6 days if you did half an hour a day. Think about it that way.
I don't know whether I like it more for being funny or for being quite an interesting, like, human tale. I think it does. There are a couple.
both.
Yeah, it can be both, and I think things can be both. It's just hard to do, and I think there were a few moments where I was like, oh god, is this diving off either deep end of that spectrum? But I feel like it is well made enough to stride that line and set the dimmer switch down to middle with
to get some action going.
with those child actors. On that note, Ethan, what's your thoughts?
Yeah,
So I have the exact same response to this film as Harry does, which is controversial opinion.
everyone's
I know.
agreeing with Ethan.
Where I've seen the film once, and when I watched it with Jonathan, I knew that he was going to pick it as an IMDb, so I had a score in mind. I was going to give it an 8, and I thought, well, if I rewatch it, I probably would give it a 9. but I
You
haven't rewatched it. So at the moment, all I can give it is an 8, I'm afraid. But it's a very strong 8.
Just
Very quickly
but
show
before
it.
the end of this competition, though, just everyone rewatch it and
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're probably likely to win now, Johnny. You've had a pretty strong showing overall.
Yeah, you haven't really had any
I
weak
wanted
films.
it to be shit, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, the
that-
difference between you and me, right, is that you haven't had any
want
weak
films to
films.
be shit,
But I haven't had any
It's
weak films
competition.
either. I've just had weak audience
You go
member
in
participants.
looking to like. Can you?
gotta say, yeah. So because I guess my
Well, I'm
yeah,
going to
because
be contrarian and want to like it now.
Yeah, that's what I want you to do. I want you to look for the good things in Synecdoche, New York. Yeah, I can send you the YMS's like thing that took him 6 years and he's only halfway through analysing that film.
yeah, my weakest one was Silent Running with 31.
That's my fault.
yeah.
And also I did retroactively increase my score.
Yes,
on that,
yeah,
in
yeah.
fairness.
And then I've
Sorry.
got Rope on 33.
Lowest one is 30.
Yeah, that's our fault, right? That we didn't like that as much.
Yeah, but he says like his lowest one is 31. Like me
Yeah.
and Ethan here with our 28s.
No, surely we've got one lower than 28.
I think 28 is the lowest two we've got.
Really?
Red Line and The Graduate are both 28.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They should be.
One of those
lower.
films is so much better than the other.
Yeah,
as well.
can I retcon my Graduate score to match my?
What, give it half.
I actually think you should, because it would be very funny if we all just got really honest and like just started like we had to re-record the podcast because they were so out of date with our current opinions.
The thing is, I wouldn't mind if you gave that film a 1 out of 10 because I won't win anyway. With your current score of 5 or
We'll
6.
see. It's anyone's game still.
Is it?
If you say it, it's true.
All right, Johnny. Should we end this thing?
Yeah.
Also, what did Submarine get?
It got 34, which
Ooh, it's in the
that's it.
it's in the
Yeah, it's 3 times 8 plus 10.
it's in the club.
Oh,
Degree level maths.
I was going to say, because it's because the highest score at the moment is 35 for both In Bruges and Arrival, and then it's Submarine.
Oh, I'm not going to win, but do the right thing. I'm praying that's going to get the highest score that we do.
I think that maybe. I mean, we all know that Tony is he's gonna see Kaufman's masterpiece and be like, yes, I love it.
Yeah, I feel like Tony's issue with Do the Right Thing is that there aren't many characters that are.
I haven't seen it yet.
Well, Tony's
No,
going to
I
go
know,
in
I
and
know,
he's
but-
going to come out at the end. He's going to be like, I hate the Welsh now. He's going to retroactively make you hate them.
It would be great if there was a you know the way Death at a Funeral remakes. They remake Death at a Funeral, but with a black cast rather than a white cast. They remake Do the Right Thing with a Welsh cast instead of a black cast.
Tony would be the one. All right,
Yeah.
let's end this.
Oh god,
Why
they
are
should do
there
it.
no Welsh brothers on the board?
They should remake Do the Right Thing
Goodbye.
with. All right, fucking end it.